All right. I think we're
Live on YouTube?
I think so.
Let's do
Let
it,
me
man.
check on the iPad.
Let's see. Let's see our faces. Yes, sir. We're live.
We're live?
We're live, and we got people in queue already.
No way.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Is this the YouTube stream from TikTok? I got to be here. This is what's going on, Brennan.
Larson. There we go. I can put it on the bottom. You see that?
Look at that. Look at that.
We're learning. How about this? Brandon Nimo ahead of Shane McClanahan, just coming out like crazy.
I don't mind
what
that.
What do you think this means from our college baseball guy?
Jack is scary.
Yeah, what do you think that means?
Maybe your voice.
Can we address? I was a little scary on Friday, right?
I think it was funny, too, because the theme of our episode was supposed to be, you guys are supposed to tear me apart.
Yeah, sports debate show. And then people were like, wait, Jack's actually good at tearing Peter down. What the fuck?
I think the problem was that normally, like, we're not an echo chamber, but we agree on a lot of things, and we're generally very nice to each other. So then that episode kind of threw people for a loop because they were like, wait, why are they yelling at each other?
So I remember the reason I feel good about like us being a decent baseball podcast is because we got an Apple podcast review a couple months ago that was like half of this show is literally them smelling each other's farts. So I smell your farts and I hate you with a burning passion within 6 months. And I feel like that's a pretty good dynamic where like we can do both.
And also, they're being pretty nice by saying half, more than half.
Yeah. No, I think we have some good stuff. All right. I mean, we've got the questions flying in. Look at Connor Long right here. Look at Jev right here. I do. Please edit and include one Tiger next time from Logan Smith. Yeah, I can't wait until Akil Badu's back on this list, man.
Yeah.
How about this? Hey, props to you, man, from Brew Crew Baseball. I was impressed Peter didn't cave in and kept his ground.
Brew Crew Baseball and I know that we're both on the same page. I didn't lose one debate. It was incredible by me. Props to me. Didn't lose one. The only thing I could consider losing, because it is a flawless top 100 list, the only thing I could consider losing was your opinion on Ketel Marte, because I thought that was a very interesting stack with like Marte, Luis Robert, and Alejandro Kirk right there in the 70s and 80s. Might have lost that one. The Riley Tucker debate was interesting, but overall, I mean, what a list.
It was good. You guys should go listen to the conversation, which was as, I'm not going to say as like speak for yourself, or what's the Skip and Shannon one, undisputed. Like it wasn't full blown undisputed, but like it was the closest we'll ever get to undisputed, I think. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to pop questions up as we go here, because I'm running point for the first time and I actually love this. We're doing this from our friends at StreamYard, and we've already got the questions popping in. But Peter, I just threw a question on the bottom here. Do you have any idea how to answer this or no?
I know who Kylian Mbappe is, but
do you know who Erling Haaland is?
No, not even a little bit. I couldn't name you. If you told me he was playing hockey, I'd be like, sure.
So I'm in Norway. He's Nordic country. They play hockey in Norway. So I'm in Santa Clara visiting my brother, who's a sophomore at Santa Clara, and he is in the background playing Mario Kart on mute right now. Do you see him? There we go. But he's been obsessed with Erling Haaland for a little bit. Perfect question for you two avid European soccer lovers. Who's MLB's Mbappe and Haaland? Who is... So you've got like the old guard, right? You've got the Trout. But who is like the best player in the world that's like really young? Is it Soto? Like Soto's going to be an all-time great, and we know it at the age of 24. Like that's kind of Mbappe.
Yeah. Soto is the highest ranked player on my list that is under 25, I think. Yeah. Because the first four, and we're going to go through it. It's like Ohtani, it's Trout, it's Judge, it's Mookie, it's Harper, guys in their late 20s, early 30s, like right in the smack middle of their prime. And then Soto is the youngest player on this list because I believe he's the best young player in all of Major League Baseball. So that's Kylian Mbappe. Holland, I assume, let me guess, 36 years old?
No. Holland is also like 23, 24, but his thing is like cyborg goal scorer, like touches the ball twice in 90 minutes and scores twice in 90 minutes. Like,
is that Tatis?
No, I don't think
Cyborg?
so, because I think he's like, it's menacing. It is, who's like the most fearsome player in baseball? Like
Jordan.
It's probably Jordan. So I'd say Holland is Jordan Alvarez, and I think Soto is Mbappe. So I think we just kind of nailed it. And now I will share the screen and we'll get into that. That was pretty good.
Round of applause.
There we go. All right. You guys should be able to see this well. Yep. So this is Peter Appel's top 100. Let me close out of this ad. Is that good?
Yeah. Perfect.
That's good. All right. So I'm going to pop some questions and I'm going to scroll.
Shout out Jack M. Just donated $5. What a king. I love you, Jack.
Way. Who is
Not that Jack. You, Jack. Jack M.
I'm Jack M.
Jack M is also Jack M.
I'm Jack M.
Did you donate?
That's awesome. Thank you, Jack M. That isn't me. All right, let's start with Connor Lang here. Rendon on the list is crazy, Peter.
Wait, but if people are going to donate, we gotta answer their questions first. If they're nice enough to donate,
what did Jack M
he's got
say?
A question. I can read it. It's Jack M right there.
I see it. I see it. Let's flash it. Love the show, fellas. The one guy I think you have too low is Luis Castillo at 50. Absolutely dominated in the playoffs. It is only getting better. So for reference, here's where we have Castillo sandwiched between Springer and Olsen with Semien and Nimo. Luis Castillo behind Spencer Strider. And the conversation that got a bit testy, I think, on Friday on the podcast was certain guys you were okay if they did it once, certain guys you want to see more from. Yeah. Why does Strider get the edge over Castillo after 1 year?
Because I think there were certain guys, because with a top 100, there has to be a little bit of picking and choosing. And that's why my opinion, it's who I think right now are the top 100 players in Major League Baseball. So while Luis Castillo, he was a great pitcher in Cincinnati, but I think he showed that he's a true ace now that he's in Seattle, and he did dominate in the playoffs. And he was a guy who I kind of wanted to put above certain guys. I'm glad we're starting out with him, because Luis Castillo at 50, going into it, I thought people were going to think he's too high on the list. But in reality, kind of like Bobby Witt Jr., I was afraid to rank him too low. So with Strider, what Strider proved during the regular season is that when he's on, based on strikeout rate, based on stuff, with 100 miles an hour with the breaking ball and the developing changeup, that when Strider is at his best, he's proved he's one of the best pitchers overall in Major League Baseball. That's why the rookies and guys who only have like small sample size, when you see them really high on my list, basically what that means is I'm fully bought in. Some other guys, like, for example, Gunnar Henderson, he's ranked at 86. I believe in the bat, but I want to see him play defense. I want to see if he's a shortstop or a third baseman. Guys like that. Michael Harris is a little bit lower than Julio Rodriguez, who I think Julio Rodriguez proved he's one of the best players in baseball. He's going to win MVPs. While Michael Harris has some walk rate issues, he was striking out more than I'd like him to. There's just a few more holes in his game. While with Strider, the only hole in his game is health. If he's healthy, he is as dominant as any pitcher in Major League Baseball. Luis Castillo, I think, is a certified ace. I think you can't put him any lower than that. But in terms of a peak, in terms of a big game, in terms of who I think has the better stuff, I think that's Strider. But again, 47 to 50, it's so close there. And I think if you go higher on the list, like into the 40s, you start to look at pitchers and be like, well, he's not better than Arias. He's not better than Fried. He's not better than some of the elite of the elite, but he's right there. He's the 50th best player in Major League Baseball.
So one last thing on Strider, which makes me side with you, is of pitchers with 100 innings or more in 2022. So qualified is 162 or above. Like, you have to throw the equivalent to an inning every game. Strider was not.
Oh, I think Jack just died.
There we go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay, I should be back. Where did you lose me?
I lost you. You were talking about qualified innings, Strider.
Qualified innings. So 162. Yeah, 162 was qualified innings. Strider in 131 innings struck out 202 guys. So if you go by minimum 100 innings, all pitchers that throw 100 innings or more, Strider 13.8 strikeouts per nine. Next best was Blake Snell at 12.02. So he was almost 2 Ks per nine better than the next best guy that threw over 100 innings. He's the best strikeout artist in baseball right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
next one. I do want to go back to Connor Lang because this was something that we talked about a lot. Why is Anthony Rendon?
First of all, next is Owen Watson, just donated another $5. You are king. Thank you so much, Owen. We'll answer your question right after Connor Lang's. But we want to kind of answer a lot of questions that are 100 up, and we'll kind of work through the list chronologically. So if you have any questions about the 100 through 90, make sure to get that in. But Owen, don't worry, we won't forget about you. We got your question. Yeah, Anthony Rendon. So this is a fascinating one because when I was looking at other lists, and I haven't really seen MLB Network's list, I saw there 100, I think, through 80. But besides that, I haven't really been keeping tabs on him. But what I did notice, at least 100 through 80, and if he's not 100 through 80, he's probably not going to be on your list. Anthony Rendon is off a lot of lists. I think a lot of people have given up on Anthony Rendon. But what I see from Anthony Rendon is if he is healthy, which he is, going into this season, Anthony Rendon should suit up opening day for the Los Angeles Angels. If Anthony Rendon is 80% of what he was, either with Washington or at the very beginning with Los Angeles, he should be a top 100 guy. He actually should be way higher than this. So it's, what do you expect from Anthony Rendon? Do you expect him to play 120 games? That's what I kind of think. And 120 games of Anthony Rendon is the 97th best player in Major League Baseball. If he doesn't, let's say he has another one of these seasons where he doesn't play, doesn't look like the same, doesn't have that lateral quickness, which what made him that great defender, and also what got him locked into his back hip so that he could fricking spray balls all over the field, which made him one of the best third basemen in baseball. 97 is terrible ranking because then it'll be 30. Yeah. So that's how I kind of hedged it. Anthony Rendon, when healthy, when right, is way above 97. If he's not healthy and he's not right, he's not even close to the list. So I had to put him on because if he has a great season, I'll look like the moron who freaking forgot Anthony Rendon on the list. Anthony Rendon. Cameron Rico, our guy Cam is already donating. We love this.
Yeah, 100%. I hear you on that. And dude, how about this from Cam? In reference to Jack M, who threw us a 5-piece. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And he is the real Jack M. You're right. Also, Ben Bellotti, who does kick-ass work for us on the video editing side, is watching from our YouTube account. So he wants to join the fun. How about Owen? Let's get to Owen and then shout out a couple other guys for throwing cash at us right now. I feel it.
We need the donation so Jack can pay for Wi-Fi. I'll assume everyone watching just had a huge laugh at that because I can't hear you, but I wish I could. All right. I'll just talk right now until Jack's ready. Cal Quantrill, number 100. If you have a problem, DM me because I will fight to the death over Cal Quantrill being on this list. If you don't know about Cal Quantrill, I don't know what to tell you. He's making my list. It's my list.
This feels.
Oh, here he comes back in again.
Ozzy, there we go.
You're back in?
I think so. Am I good now?
In. Good to see you.
Dude, this is incredible. What is going on? All right. You guys got me now?
We got you.
Okay. I lost the messages for some reason. Here we go. Comments. All right. I'm back. Owen Watson. Did you already answer Owen Watson's question?
I was just yelling at everybody how Kyle Quantrill has to make my list.
Yeah, I mean.
What?
I mean, we talked about this on the pod. Go listen to the pod. But tying a bow on the Rendon thing, we talked about Rendon on the pod, and I don't have any say in where any guy is on this list. The only thing I let you ask me about when you called me before the pod was, does Anthony Rendon make the list? And we had a discussion that was probably 10 minutes long, and we settled on yes, because of the reasons that you just laid out.
Yeah, he has to be. Like, if he's not on your list and has a great year, like, you just left off one of the best third basemen in baseball. But if he keeps it up, he'll never make another list again because he just can't prove he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
So, Owen Watson, question 40 to 42 is Julio Arias, Max Fried, and Aaron Nola in that order. I have them flipped with Nola first, then Fried, then Arias. I'd like to hear more about Arias's upside. Love this question because I'm a Julio Arias believer to its core. But I wanted to also put these three kind of in the same order because I believe that they're in the same tier. And while I would pick Arias, then Fried, then Nola, if you told me Nola, Fried, Arias, or Fried, Arias, Nola, or whatever version of it, I wouldn't say that you're wrong because I think in a big game, I can look at these three guys and think to myself, I feel good about winning against any pitcher in Major League Baseball. Nola proved that in the playoffs. Fried's been proven that in the playoffs. But I honestly think that the best playoff performer of these three has been Julio Arias so far. We forget because 2022 is so recent and the Dodgers kind of got shelved in the last playoffs. But remember, this is not just from 2022. That's what's important about this list. I value consistency over a long period of time. And Arias finished second in NL Cy Young voting last year, and it's not like it wasn't deserved. 2.16 ERA, I think he had. And the Dodgers, they like to go to their bullpen after 6 innings. So it's like, is that Julio Arias's fault? I'm sure, like, for example, he pitched 185 innings in 2021, but because the Dodgers had such a good bullpen, remember, there's context with every team. You can't just look at someone's innings pitch and be like, oh, well, he can't pitch more. Arias could easily pitch more. They just wanted to save him for the playoffs because they have a bunch of freaks in their bullpen. I remember them going to Caleb Ferguson in the 6th inning just because they could, and Ferguson could close out games for the Dodgers. Like, Arias, I think pitch for pitch, has one of the best curveballs in baseball. He has one of the best fastballs, even though it's 93 in terms of run value. It's way up there. Arias is a dog when the lights are the brightest, and he finished second in Cy Young voting. So if you take 2022 regular season, he was the best out of these three. And if you take total playoff success, he's been the best out of these three too. So, but it's close because I love Fried and I love Nola. And but that's my argument for Arias at number one.
Well, and that's why they're stacked too. And if I'm not touching any other tabs, like I'm not using my iPad right now, like I'm not using my phone or anything to try and make sure my Wi-Fi stays.
This is off the cuff. The only tab open for me is StreamYard. This is all brain.
I'm going with you as well. If memory serves correctly, Arias is also the youngest of the bunch.
Yes.
Because he started his service clock so early. It was like Fernando Mania 2.0. Literally. He struggles. He goes through his trials and tribulations. He comes back up as a reliever, and now he's one of the best left-handers in the game. And for my money, the best left-hander in the National League, now that Rendon is in the American League. I think that Arias and Rendon is a conversation that I'm willing to have. And you've got Rendon ahead of Cole just barely. He's in the mid-30s. As I flip to the other tab and I scroll here, you can literally see Rendon here at 37. So you've got Rendon at 37, Arias at 40. Last year, those were 1 and 2 in terms of left-handers in the National League. Fried, I think, was 3. Yeah. And I love that you have those 2 NL and former NL left-hander stacked as closely as you do. So thank you very much, Owen, for the question. That actually is a lovely transition to Todd's question. And thank you so much, Todd. Shane McClanahan at 56 is crazy. Also being the 5th for left-handed pitchers is nuts. 2 or 3 best left-handers behind Rendon and Fried. Love the show, boys. Yes, Todd, I agree with you. And I pushed back on Peter on Friday's show because I think anybody that listens to the Just Baseball show consistently knows how in love I am with McClanahan. The problem for McClanahan is he is home run prone. And I think he is not big, like not crooked number prone, but like a 3-run homer hurts. And that's McClanahan's type of jam. He is early homer and then settle in. But Garrett Cole is beneath Carlos Rodon right now. Cole is arguably a top 20 pitcher if he eliminates, or top 20 player overall, for sure a top 5 pitcher if he eliminates the home run from his arsenal. But the home run is such a big part of Cole's game. Like he allows bombs. So that's why you have him at 38. I bet that's why you have McClanahan at 56 too.
It's part of the reason. It's not the whole reason. McClanahan from a stuff profile is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
He's incredible.
I would say from any lefty, from a combination of 4 different pitches on a pitch-by-pitch basis, he might have the best stuff. Carlos Rodon has the best 2 pitches from any lefty in Major League Baseball. By run value, it's just the fastball and the slider make
by run value. But let me say this from an aesthetically pleasing standpoint, like from an aesthetics perspective, there's something about McClanahan with the fastball with ride, the hammer of a breaking ball, and that split change that is stupidly good.
So good.
And apparently he's been working on slider shape this offseason. Like if he adds that almost slider to the repertoire where you go fastball, curveball, slider, split change, this guy, he may be on no-hitter watch.
Because then he could start, back-footing sliders to righties. And then, they don't have a shot. And, he's going to be so good. And I love Shane McClanahan. He's ranked 56th. But what I will point you to is the fact that McClanahan did have an amazing first half. I think he had the best first half of any pitcher in baseball. He was on Cy Young watch. But what happened in the second half? And also, I'd point you to the fact that I value innings. I need innings eaters. If you're a starter, I prefer you have a 3.1 ERA and 200 innings with a ton of strikeouts rather than a 2.8 ERA and 160 innings. And that's what McClanahan has been in his career so far. I think for McClanahan to take the next step into the elite category is to just throw more innings. Give me a season of 200 innings from McClanahan. Be that number one. I can give you the ball every 5th day, and I don't have to worry about it. But the reality is that McClanahan, in his time in Major League Baseball, has not been that innings eater. He just hasn't. Now, you could say, well, Strider's above him, but Strider from a dominance level has shown more dominance in those 130 innings than McClanahan has. He just has. Look at the numbers. So McClanahan could be one of those risers. But again, if he puts in another season of 150, 160 innings, he's banged up, he flashes amazingness, but he just can't be relied on. The Guardians, they couldn't really hit in the playoffs. And he threw 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned. He was getting out of a lot of jams against a Guardians team that already struggled against lefties in the regular season. And Glasnow looked better than him. Even a guy like Jeffrey Springs looked just as good as him. And in the All-Star game, he even got crushed. That's what I have to look at when things are this close, when everyone is so amazing that you find little holes. And it's the more the little holes, they drop you from 47 to 56. And that's how it is. It's just these guys have a little bit more holes than others. But from a stuff profile, it's hard to argue Shane McClanahan isn't one of the best.
Moving forward, however many years we do this podcast, I never want you to cite the All-Star game again when it comes to
show up against the best hitters.
Ever. I never want to hear that again.
Game? What did Pedro do the All-Star game? Freaking shoved.
Okay, I never want to hear that again.
That's the hard-hitting analysis that you miss. All-Star game stats. Show up.
1 inning.
Show up.
Has a mic on while he's pitching.
4 earned, and we were there. He was getting creamed.
Hey, you were there. I wasn't there. A couple of my favorite comments here. Miller coming in with heat again. Hey, how about this one? I love that one.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. And then, yeah, absolutely, for sure.
We make fun of Cam all the time because whenever he's about to make a pitch on our Twitter streams when we're doing our bets of the day, loses internet as soon as he starts. He'll be like, "What's up, guys?" No matter what. And then he comes back and it's totally fine.
Hey, so Nathaniel Lowe didn't make your list, but I mean, shout out EG 1205. Yeah, we gotta spend some time on this. Talk about buy-in. This is literal buy-in. Love the show, boys. Thoughts on Nate Lowe? My first thought on Nate Lowe is apparently he likes going by Nathaniel, so it's Nathaniel Lowe.
Yeah, Nathaniel.
He did hit 302. He's a big boy that I guess was. If he was going to hit 300, I was expecting a 550 slug. We didn't necessarily get that. But what we did get was a guy that was spraying the ball all over for a big boy. He's not your typical mashing first baseman. Nathaniel Lowe is a really interesting study. If he does what he did in 2022 again, is he a top 100 guy heading into 2024?
It's also an interesting study of how bad a first baseman could be at defense. Like
right.
EG 1205. I know you're probably a Rangers fan. You saw him dropping balls. I know I did when I was betting on the Rangers, that he's dropping balls from the infield when he's missing grounders. I mean, what a disaster at first base. But man, did he bang last year. I mean, every single time he got up to the plate, I'd be like, well, if I need the Rangers to win, yeah, you just let up an error, but make up for it in the bat. And he almost always did. He was a Tonka truck. Like he was... You threw a ball in the zone and he's putting it in a gap. I love Nathaniel Lowe, but again, did it for 1 year. First base, and your defense is bad. So the value of you as a player didn't quite crack this top 100 where we have shortstops, we have catchers, we have outfielders. A lot of these guys, they combine offense and defense. A lot of these guys have done it longer. It's just that's what had him missing was... okay, if you're a first baseman, you got to really hit and you got to really hit consistently. He's done it for 1 year and the defense was so bad and he plays in a hitter's park. So I just thought, all right, he's going to miss. But again, he was considered. No doubt about it.
I wish Evan put a question mark after this.
Nick Ladola. I agree. Nick Ladola. I agree with him.
But Peter, Nick Ladola?
I agree. I mean, I agree. How can you not agree about Nick Ladola?
Let's jump back to Owen Watson. Shout out Owen again. J-Ram is anything besides 3B1 feels wrong. Love Arenado and Manny, but would take some convincing to put them ahead of J-Ram. Yeah. I put out a tweet yesterday morning, I want to say. I was just like putzing around on Fangraphs and Baseball Reference at Savant and all that. And I don't think people realize how close Nolan Arenado is to Hall of Famer already. This guy has 6 platinum gloves. Every year he's played a full season, he's won a Gold Glove. I understand outs above average defensive run save. They favored Ke'Bryan Hayes this year, but like
we're Ke'Bryan Hayes truther pod. He shouldn't have won it, but I mean, I even put on the podcast. I was like, "What are you upset? Arenado won it? Like who cares? Like, right? It's Arenado.
It's Arenado. Like I'm all for the narrative boost. Like if Ke'Bryan Hayes is going to slug 350, I'd rather Nolan win the Gold Glove because he's a 900 OPS guy. Like
it doesn't make any sense, but it does make sense to people who know ball.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. Like you've got Ke'Bryan, Nolan, and then what the line from Moneyball, 50 feet of crap. And then everybody else. Yeah. Like that's
who else is up there with them?
I mean Machado Chapman doesn't even grade.
Machado was up there with them. Like
Machado was like closer to.
Do you see him in the playoffs? Vacuum.
Well, yes, but I'm talking like analytically by DRS and OAA. Like it was. Ke'Bryan is like 24-20. Arenado is like 2016, and then everybody else is like 8-4 if they're good in terms of DRS and outs above average. So, I mean, like Arenado is career like 14% K rate, 300 hitter, averaging 40 doubles, 35 nukes, 100 driven in. I know a lot of it was in Colorado, but this guy, if you look at the counting numbers, if you look at the slash line,
and he proved in St. Louis. I mean, he's so good. He's Hall of Famer.
Proving it. And he's got 5 more years to prove it. So if he does retire after this 5-year opt-in is up, he'll have spent 8 years in Colorado, 7 in St. Louis, and at least he's got 8 Gold Gloves and 6 Platinum Gloves to his name. Yeah. If Todd Helton doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, A, it's a travesty. B, I think Nolan may have a better case when it's all said and done than Todd.
I don't even think it's close. He has a way better case. I mean, he's maybe the best defensive third baseman ever behind like Brooks Robinson, and then also hits 40 bombs and drives in 120, hits 300. But let's go over the question.
Did this actually just happen?
No way.
Did that actually just happen?
I think they might be trolling you.
Logan, Indianapolis is my favorite minor league city. Come on now. But I think
1 year. 1 year of the White Sox. Jeff
That's
Passan.
awesome. He's going to play second.
That's awesome.
I'm very happy because we walked through this. Like the options were either Romy Gonzalez, fart noise, Leury Garcia, like shart noise, or Lenin Sosa, who I think can be a good prospect. But like right now, if you want to contend for, an AL pennant, fart noise. So I'm a huge fan of this. I did sign up for a meet and greet in Toledo, but Indy is my favorite minor.
Let's go back to that question, because I want to go over why I had Jose Ramirez over, or why I had Machado and Arenado over J-Ram.
Yeah.
Because it's a really, really tough question, because all three of them, similar to that stack of Arias, Fried, and Nola, whatever order you rank them, I'm good with it. My personal opinion, I go through each individual tool when it comes to baseball. The only real thing that I think Jose Ramirez has over Machado and Arenado is speed, right? What else is Jose Ramirez better than Machado and Arenado? Like, maybe you could argue bat to ball.
But Arenado is that good bat to ball.
And Machado is a 300 hitter. Like, obviously, we're using batting average here when we say bat to ball. There's plenty of other zone contact. We know.
No, I mean, like K rate. Like,
yeah, we're using a
K rate. Nolan's like a 14% K rate guy.
So, power. Machado and Arenado both have more power, I would say.
But here's the thing, like,
defense. They're both better at defense.
So I just wrote up the top 10 third basemen, which will be live, I think, this week, end of this week, beginning of next. And I mean, like, going through these guys, third base is the best position in baseball right now. And I don't think it's particularly close. Like, we've got the top 6 right now are these 3: Riley, Devers, Bregman.
Jeez.
Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So you're looking at a $300 million guy in Rafi Devers that doesn't hold a candle to any of these 3. Like, so clearly second tier.
Yeah.
This is all tier 1. And you could assort these 3 in any which way, and I wouldn't have pushed back. I think you have it right going into 2023.
Right. I think, like, Machado, I think, is the best combination of everything. And I think Arenado is arguably the best combination of everything. And then J-Ram, like, he had a down year last year, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to read you the stats. You can look it up for yourself. He had a down year. Machado and Arenado, they don't have down years.
Wait, wasn't down year 100 driven in?
It's a down year for J-Ram.
Sorry, I forgot RBIs are a fake stat that shouldn't be considered anymore.
Right? That.
Pete Alonso's actually not that good. Like, what does he do? Only drive in 130?
No, I know. But you when comparing guys, because it's happenstance, it's like if there's a runner on second, you get a base hit versus nobody on second. Like it, but whatever. Not talking about RBIs. We're just talking about from a 2022 perspective. Also, the thing that honestly gave Machado the edge, because again, this is ranking for 2023. He's a free agent after this year. He's going to go crazy.
Contract year.
He's going to go
Did you
crazy.
see Bob Nightingale said that Machado and the Padres were $145 million apart?
Did you see that they offered to give him 5 years, 105 on top of his already 8 years? Like, he's going to get so much money. It's going to be insane.
Machado wants 10 years, 400, according to Nightingale.
That's a lot of money. I mean,
like, isn't he 30?
Does he not deserve it?
I guess if Xander Bogaerts got 280, Machado deserves 400.
Yeah. I mean, like, shit. He's gonna look at that. Just that gift played over and over again. Have been freaking just. Riley's number 4, and Riley is so good. And I hated, not that I hated, but it's, you know, the spirit of debate that we were debating between like Seager and Tucker and Riley for like the 22 to 26. And I had to play this is why Seager and Tucker are better than Riley. So I was like kind of tearing Riley down in a way, which I hated doing because I love him. Like, talk about a dude that comes in for us when we need it and not gambling advice. Austin Riley is a stud. I think what takes him off is that Machado and Arenado have his power. Machado and Arenado and J-Rem have his bat to ball. And all of them are better defenders. And all of them are better on the base pass. So, and Riley's done it for 2 years, which I believe in it. That's why he's 26. Like, he's a freak of nature. And I think he's one of the best pure hitters in Major League Baseball. But when you're ranking him against J-Ram and Arenado and Machado, like, you got to split hairs. And
that's the thing.
He lost there.
But that's the thing. And like, while Riley is on the same playing field as those three offensively, he's not defensively. And that's the difference, right?
Yeah. And then Devers is right there because he also bangs.
Yeah, but like even with improvements is still kind of a liability defensively.
Kind of. And that's what puts him at 27 and not at
You want to know the magic of Jose Ramirez?
Yeah. 148 OPS plus is down here. Did he actually have a 148 OPS plus last year?
I think so.
No, he didn't.
I like this question from Cactus Gaming because this is, well, before that, AJ, Manny Machado can't go back to the Orioles because for some reason they want to make space for Ramon Arias.
So 148 OPS plus last year. I mean, what a freak.
Yeah. So why would Manny Machado go back when he's blocked by Jorge Mateo and Ramon Arias? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true. It's got a battle.
This question here, I think is really good because we talked a bit about Buxton on the Friday episode, and Buxton is high 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Buxton here at 57, and you've got Luis Robert here at 79.
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys are, relatively speaking, made of glass. Do you think Buxton is 20 spots more electric when he's on the field than Luis Robert is?
Yeah. I think Buxton, when he's on the field, is arguably like way up there, way higher than 56 or 58, wherever.
I think Luis Robert's way up there when he's on the field.
Not quite. But again, that's why like Luis Robert being 79 is almost like a testament to how amazingly talented he is. Because he doesn't play that much. And he has less of a sample size than Buxton does, too. Buxton's been in the league a little bit longer than him. Buxton's a better defender. Buxton has more power. From a bat-to-ball standpoint, like Luis Robert has shown better flashes. But again, the numbers wouldn't say that he's all that much better. Buxton's faster. Like, from a tools perspective, I don't know what tool Robert beats Buxton in. But again, if Buxton, and he's not 80s and everything, but just to make it, let's say Buxton 100 at everything on MLB The Show, for example. Luis Robert is like 88 to Buxton's 100, but it's the similar profile where he's literally good at everything. It's just like, can you play the game? Can you stay on the field? So that's what constituted that level, because I do believe when both are on the field and healthy, Buxton is that much better. But again, not that much better. It's 20.
So when Luis Robert was coming up and when he was like the top prospect in the game, Jason Benetti, who's the TV voice for the White Sox and like does stuff for Fox now, he was on 670 The Score, which is the Cubs flagship in Chicago. But, you know, obviously they were talking White Sox, and they asked for a comp for Luis Robert. And naturally you would think of like, oh, electric, you know, outfielder of years previous. And Benetti said Terrell Owens was his comp. Because he's pretty much like a wide receiver tight end. Like, he hits the ball 480 feet when he's healthy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Luis Robert truther. Problem is, I'm also an Eloy Jimenez guy. And both those guys, when they're on the field, are awesome. But guess what? They're never on the field.
Yeah, that's a problem.
This is a good question, and thank you so much, Contis. I'm interested to know why Altuve over Jordan. You've got Altuve at 18, Trey Turner at 19, Jordan at 20. I think your answer is very simple, and it starts with a D and ends with an E-fence.
Yeah, that's a part of it. Altuve's done it for longer, and if you're hanging your hat on Jordan is that much better of a hitter than Altuve is. Altuve finished 4th in WRC plus last year, everybody.
And Jordan was 2nd?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't even that far. And like, I still think the leader of the Astros is Altuve over anyone. But again, it's 18-20. It's just, and people are trying to tell me that Jordan is a good defender and left. Like, no, he isn't. Stop. You're never going to be able to convince me of that. By the numbers, and you look at like he's lumbering out there. He makes the routine plays because he's not an idiot and he's playing a corner.
My favorite narrative about Yordan defensively is people say, "Oh, he's got an incredibly accurate arm."
Yeah, and arm isn't even good.
Yeah, but like an accurate arm. Like he may not have a rocket, but he's got an accurate arm.
I like that.
So Aram and I just played this game, and you guys will hear the top 10 second baseman on the Just Baseball show tomorrow morning. He played the gun to your head, who is the highest FWAR guy at second base in 2023. And it was probably Altuve. Now I'm going to flip it on you. Bet your life you've got one guy to finish with 1,000. Well, yeah. No, new question. Sorry.
Okay.
Bet your life on one guy to finish with a 1,000 OPS this year. Is it Judge? Because I think mine's Yordan.
I don't need a sample size, right? Like it can be in however many games.
Are you going to go Buxton?
No, I'm going to go Trout.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
career,
I'm just going to go Trout.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I actually think I am going to go Yordan still, even without Trout, because Yordan is like bat to ball.
Yeah, he had the same zone contact as Jeff McNeil. That stat just threw me through a loop. Kind of similar to how
that's what he is.
He's
300 with a 600 slug. Like Yordan can be a Hall of Fame DH.
The fact that he's even this high as a DH is amazing. After doing it twice, he's amazing. He is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. He is amazing as a hitter. There's a lot other things to do in Major League Baseball. You got to run. You got to play defense. He doesn't do any of those things. But as a hitter, say goodnight.
The guy in between these two, you've got Altuve at 18, Alvarez at 20, Trey Turner at 19. Turner at 19 is wild. How so? Like wild good or wild bad?
Wild.
Damn. Nick Ladola.
No, yeah, Turner's an interesting case because
I think a lot of people would argue he's a top 10 player in baseball.
A lot of people would argue, and you could make a very sound argument for that based on what he's been able to do. Breaks down Mac baseball for us. Love that.
Sincere carry. Back-to-back Mac Player of the Year. Gotta be.
Turner's not the 40 stolen base guy that I think we think he is. 21 home runs last year. Always going to hit for a high batting average. Always going to have a high BABIP because he's incredibly fast. But he's not even the fastest player at his own position anymore. That's Bobby Witt Jr. He's going to be 30, maybe even 30. How was it, 29, 30? Do you know how old he is?
I think he's 30. 29. I think he's
29.
30 this year.
Yeah. And this could be like an amazing season. He could win the MVP. But when I look at Trey Turner, he's not the defensive player that a lot of shortstops are on this list. He's just not. You know, the former second baseman turned shortstop. He's a fine glove. I'd call him around major league average. We even saw that happen in the playoffs. He made some blunders for them. And as a hitter in the playoffs, has not been good. Remember, splitting hairs here when we get into this. So I got to find these tiny, tiny little holes. But Turner, from a power and speed perspective, is still one of the best players in baseball. I mean, I love just watching this GIF over and over again of him just crushing this Jose Suarez just meatball. And Trey Turner is going to be great, but he's not Lindor.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like,
and that's the second best shortstop, and that makes Trey Turner the second best shortstop on my list. So I obviously love him,
right?
But he ain't Lindor. He ain't as well-rounded as Lindor.
You cover up the username and it's like, okay. And then you see Phil's Utley 26. Thank you very much for watching in the question. But like, I know where you side here when you say Trey Turner better than Altuve Lindor because your ownership just dropped $300 million on this guy. Do you agree with this statement?
Cam is someone who I really respect now. You know, he's writing over here at Just Baseball too. Talk to Dodger fans.
Cam respectfully is money.
He is. He literally is money.
Respectfully.
Ask Dodger fans. All the Dodger fans I talked to, they didn't like Trey Turner. And so maybe weird. There's other Dodger fans who think those Dodger fans are doing insanely illegal drugs. And that's the but They argue he's not the base runner that we think he is. He's not the 30 home run guy we think he is. He's not the defender we think he is. But with that said, he's a top 20 baseball player because he's amazing, but we're splitting hairs.
So, okay, here's where it crossed the line.
Turner overrated.
Right here. This is where it crossed the line.
I love we got both sides of the. It's like Turner at 19 as well. Then you have other people be like, give me Gavin Lux. Like,
hey, the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. Do you want Trey Turner?
I don't want Trey Turner.
I want Iguodala.
I want Iguodala. I'd rather, but death beam, give me Lindor. Better all-around player. He had a better season last year. He's the best defender at the position. He's a freak. That's why he makes more money than Trey Turner. Follow the money.
I want to go to this one because we spent some good time on this on the Just Baseball show.
Criminal in what way? You think he shouldn't be on the list, or you think
he should be higher? I think he should be
pitcher.
higher.
He throws 50 innings. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, but the 50 innings are a wild ride.
It's amazing, and that's why.
That's why I heard Narco.
Yeah, I've heard Narcos. Yeah, it's very entertaining. I think that Edwin Diaz is the best reliever in baseball. That's why I ranked him that high.
It's close. It's close. Clase is here. Let me go to Diaz because Diaz is 64. Clase is 68.
Yeah, they're close. I think you can make an argument for both. I actually think that they're both so good. I mean, Diaz's slider was one of the best pitches in baseball by run value, which tracks total value. So the fact that he was even on the list is insane. I couldn't put a reliever any higher than that. So like, whatever your view is of relievers, we're both on the same side where we think he's the best in baseball. So that's just where I chose to rank the first reliever, because I was looking at impact of a player and I just had to put him at 64.
Yeah, like where does
better than some of these players
slot in?
Yeah, I don't know where you put him. Like that's what I want. That's what I want from some of the comments. If you think a player is criminally underrated or criminally overrated, who would you take them over? Like, would you rather have Dansby Swanson or Edwin Diaz? Like, you'd probably rather have the 6-win shortstop last year. Like, you would. You can't tell me that you wouldn't. Jason Adam over Edwin Diaz. Now you're smoking the same thing that freaking Phil Utley's on.
And then this is Trey Turner.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. For Brian, 33.
Pitch and catch.
Love Eli. Would be curious to hear your thought process on ranking guys like Juan or Gunnar, even though you said value consistency year-to-year results. Yes, and we were talking about Strider. They're in the same bucket. There are some guys who do not have a big sample size, but from a talent perspective are just better. They're just better. You can see it. And I know that you can see it. With Wander, it's Hall of Fame level. Not saying he's going to make the Hall of Fame, even though if you put a gun to my head, I say he would. In the future, obviously not now. Wander has incredible plate discipline. He is an excellent defensive shortstop. He has a bazooka arm, and he's so young. He's so young. Aram talks about this. You talk about this on the call-up, and it's one of my favorite points, and it's honestly stuck with me. Prospect fatigue in this way, where a guy gets called up at 20 and doesn't perform like you think a top prospect would.
Cooked. When in reality, and 20-year-old Adley Rutschman is at Oregon State. Yeah.
Like, that's where we have to realize that Wander is younger than Juan Soto. Wander is younger than Adley. Juan Soto is younger than Adley. Like, Wander, when he's right, could be with Lindor, could be with Trey Turner. I really do think so. That level of a player. Gunnar, top prospect pedigree, incredible bat, and a good defender too. So safe, just a safe profile. He takes his walks, doesn't strike out, plenty of zone contact, hits for power. He's just so freaking safe. I know he's going to hit. And I know he's going to hit for a decade. So I had to find out, who do I really value from that sample size? There goes Jack. Now it's you and me. We're talking ball. I can't even control the comments now. So we're just going to keep talking. Wander and Gunnar are fascinating because they're so young and they haven't showed much yet. But they will. And you're going to see it. So unfortunately, I can't pull up the comments because Jack's under the control. Hold on. Let me give him a... I'll just go through. Sorry, I'm late. Any Rockies yet from our guys at Capwise? Yes. Chris Bryant's at 91. Hot take, Adley is barely top 100. You're on something. You're on something serious. If you think he's barely top 100, I don't know what to tell you. I think he proved that he's not the best catcher yet just because JT's done it so long. And I even ranked him above Will Smith, even though I'm a huge Will Smith believer. Jack's trying to jump back on. We'll get back to him in a second. But Adley is easily one of already the best players in baseball. We saw what he did in the second half. He was like arguably the best hitter on the Orioles already. I think he was. I think he is. And he's so key. Like, do you think it's just happenstance that all these Orioles starting pitchers are just instantly way better than they were in previous years? No, they got way better because Adley is an amazing catcher. Even those same pitchers told us the impact of Adley Rutschman, told us what a leader he is in bullpens and everything like that. If you don't believe in Adley, you don't know ball. You don't know ball if you don't believe in Adley. Varsho between Byron and Glasnow is bold. I'm a Dalton Varsho believer. Also, just a freak. The fact that he can play catcher and outfield, find me other guys who can do that. You won't, because he's the only one. He's got power, 25 plus home runs. He's got speed, 20 plus stolen bases. His only issue is he's not the bat to ball guy, like I think a lot of people think. But from a all-around player standpoint, he's a Gold Glove level outfielder and can catch. Like, I think, you know how in the NFL and MLB you follow the money to really see like what teams believe based on contract value? The Blue Jays were willing to give up Gabriel Moreno, maybe the best catching prospect in baseball outside of Francisco Alvarez. He's up there. He's like a top 10 guy. And Lourdes Gurriel Jr. for Dalton Varsho. So that means other teams were in competition to get him. The Diamondbacks didn't just offer this, or the Blue Jays didn't just offer this random deal way more than asking price. Ask yourself, why did Dalton Varsho get such a huge package? How did he command a top 10 prospect and another outfielder? And did you see Lourdes Gurriel in the second half? Actually, have you seen Lourdes Gurriel in the second half for his entire career? Because he only hits in the second half for some reason. He is one of the best players in baseball. I got him at 58. I love Varsho. I'm a huge believer in him. If you're a listener to the Just Baseball show, you've seen me just prop this guy up as one of the better players in baseball. I'm almost afraid I ranked him too low. Munoz didn't make the top 100. Yeah, he just missed for me. If you look at the relievers on the list, I'd ask you who you'd rather have. Like Ryan Helsley's 96. Helsley had a better year than him in a closer role, while Munoz wasn't even really the true closer for the Mariners last year. I'm expecting big things. You're going to see him on our top 10 relievers, but just like he can't make it yet, right? Why Sean Murphy over Contreras and Kirk? Sean Murphy's a better defender than both of them, and by a lot. By, I think, a sizable margin, I'd say. Sizable margin. And I think he can hit almost as well as them. And catcher value is really derived, I'd say 65-35 from defense. And Sean Murphy is much better defense than those two. And he can almost hit as well. It's got to be Murphy for me. Hold on. Jack's give me a text. Give me 1 second, everybody. Why is Cal first? He's top 100. Top 100 guy. Has to be. Has to be. Julio at 21 after year one. Wild. His ceiling is so high. Yeah. That was the youngest player I ranked that high. That was the sample size guy where I thought to myself, yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did it. He did everything and more. Defensively in center field, one of the best. Power, he's got 40 in the tank. Speed, he's got 30 stolen bases in the tank. I call him a taller Ronald Acuna Jr. Freak of nature. Freak of nature. Freak of nature. Can do everything that you'd want on a baseball field. You know, prospect evaluators, they didn't see the speed. Nobody did. But he worked on it. And now he's one of the faster players in Major League Baseball, Jack. Julio Rodriguez has to be at 21.
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere, actually. I was just hiding.
You're afraid.
So miserable.
Let it be known, Jack was afraid to debate. That's why his internet
I was afraid to debate. Here we go.
Afraid.
Let me go to all. Is there any slander here? Midley Rutsch fraud? Oh, I don't know about that.
People were saying Adley might be a top 100 guy. And I was like, you're on something nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not one of the best catchers in baseball already.
Jake, respectfully, you're crazy. You're on the crazy pills. Adley top 100, not even a question for sure. Yes, absolutely. Nice going. I know. Bum. Any rookies yet?
Chris Bryant at 91.
Where were you at?
I mean, we don't have any you could just start from the beginning. Like I've been answering questions that you've been kind of going through. I see the comments right here. So okay. 2023, Colby. I don't know if this is our guy Colby Olson or someone else. 2023, would you rather have Arias, Nico, or Manoah? I don't know. Jack, go to my rankings.
Arias, Nico, or Manoah.
They're all in the same cluster. If I remember correctly, I think I have Arias. Well, yeah, they're in that same.
So I guess you'd rather have Arias.
Yeah,
and then Nico and then Manoah.
I think it's the safest profile. He's not. He struck out 7% of the times last year. He struck out 43 times in 605 plate appearances. Nico Hoerner has done it once. Love Nico Hoerner. Done it once. Alek Manoah, done it once. And the peripherals don't look great for Manoah, which I don't really get. I think he's probably always going to be a guy to outperform his peripherals because he had that 2.24 ERA, but his FIP and his xFIP and his xERA and all these different stats, he was in the mid threes or around there. He is not that. He is better than that. But I'd like to see him do it again. Arias, it's just he's going to hit 320 and not strike out. He's just going to be really good. And I know it. Hoerner, I assume it. Manoah, I assume it. But Arias is just so damn safe. He's just going to hit 315. He's going to hit some home runs. Going to hit plenty of doubles. Going to play average second base. And just it's safe. It's curling up in a blanket and watching a movie that you've seen before that you like versus a movie that could be better.
Right.
But you're not sure. You look at the Rotten Tomatoes score and it's it's ranked higher. It's flashier. But I'm curling up in a blanket and I'm watching a movie I've seen before and I know it hits. That's Luis Arias.
Hoerner over Pena. It's a good question.
Well, Hoerner arguably was as good of a defender, and I think he's a little bit better with the bat.
He was a better defender.
Was he better?
I think so.
It's just very similar. Very similar. Yeah. But whatever. You could make the argument either way. I think Hoerner just has a little bit better of a bat. And I wanted to rank Hoerner higher, but the move to second base kind of dampens his value a little bit because him as a shortstop would probably be a tad higher. But just the move to second lowers him slightly. But Pena's a dog, man. I love Pena. I loved how he showed up in the World Series. I mean, he was on fire. And when he catches fire, he is so good.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. They're all in the same grouping.
This feels a bit drastic.
Slightly drastic.
Sort of.
But I agree with it. They're going to rake. They are going to destroy baseballs. Seager will be so much better than Shift gone. What you mean? I agree. This life getting you through work.
Yeah, no question here. That's just a really nice message. I like that.
That is a really nice message. Thank you, my friend Hayden.
You're a Mookie guy.
I'm a Mookie stan.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I can answer this very simply. Like Soto, awful defensively.
Awful last year. I don't even like. I think when I look at Soto, I see a slightly below average right fielder. Like he was garbage last year, but then the year before he was pretty good. Like he's just. I don't think he was trying in Washington. Honestly, like if you're in line to get traded for 9 prospects or make $600 million, are you diving for a ball down 8-2 to the Braves when you're on the Nationals and you have no shot? No, I saw him pull up on balls. And then in San Diego, he's fine. Not good, not terrible.
Yeah.
He's a fine defender and I think he's more of a pure hitter than Jordan is, if I'd be honest with you. Since 2021, he's walking at a 21% rate. I mean, what a freak. He's a freak.
Yeah.
He's a freak. And he's like 18 years old, probably. Or 14. How old is he? 11?
Soto?
Yeah, is he 11?
Soto starts 3rd grade this year, I think.
Yeah. He's freaking coloring within the lines and hitting 300 with 30 bombs.
He might even learn how to use scissors. It's gonna be crazy.
As he's learning his shapes, he's walking 20% of the time.
Sandy, the best pitcher in baseball?
I think so.
I think so too.
I have a hypothetical for the listeners. Put a gun to your head.
We're asking
under 150 innings for DeGrom.
I don't like asking that many people to put guns to their head. It feels
putting guns to everybody's heads.
You should be on a watch list.
That's a good point. I should be. The fact that you have to be crazy enough to make a top 100, you should be put on a watch list.
Yeah, I mean, especially now with like the left side irritation from DeGrom, like it's something new every single time. And like
every time.
Obviously it's great, but we've talked about it. I've said this probably verbatim like 5-6 times on the show. I don't think the human body is built to handle that velocity that often.
At 34.
I think the human body with those mechanics too, like the thing is Diaz, he has all of his weight going towards home. Clase does it in 20 to 25 pitch spurts. DeGrom is throwing 100 pitches every 5th day at 102 with a 93 mile an hour slider. And he's got perfect mechanics. And like, I just don't think the body's built to do that.
But can I say something?
No. You've been saying everything for like an hour and 2 minutes. You have no right to say anything else.
The Jacob deGrom hurt narrative. So it's very similar to Derek Jeter. You get a narrative where Jacob deGrom is injury prone. And people take it too far. Like I'm seeing lists where Jacob deGrom is the 9th best starting pitcher in baseball. Are you crazy?
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying it's
people are saying this. You're not on social media as much as me because I'm addicted. People are saying this, Jack. People are dropping DeGrom like flies.
Can we acknowledge that Peter just had a come to earth moment on a YouTube live stream on a Sunday evening?
Not a come to earth moment. I already knew this. This is just on the live stream where
I've got a crippling social media addiction.
Jacob deGrom is still the 2nd best pitcher in baseball because when he's healthy, he's the best. And there's no question. When he's healthy, he's the best. But it's about health. Jacob deGrom, pitch for pitch, in 2021, 90 innings, a 1.08 ERA. Show me a pitcher who can do that.
Dude, look at all the answers to deGrom 150 innings.
Because that is the answer.
I don't see an over.
But
actually, I just saw an over
by 1 inning.
151.
But what I will say is go check out Jacob deGrom's baseball reference. Go check out his Fangraphs. It's really the last 2 years. He's healthy in 2020. He's healthy in 2019. Healthy in 2018. It's the last 2 years. If he does it again, okay, we'll drop him. But we can't just assume that he's going to throw 100 innings. We can't assume that. You're wrong if you just assume that. Devin Williams, but no hater.
This is from Ben Bellotti.
Devin Williams, but no hater. There were a couple players that I felt horrible leaving off. Josh Hader.
Three Padres.
Yeah. Josh Hader, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Logan Gilbert, Yandy Diaz, and Christian Walker, kind of. But mostly those 5.
Yeah, I mean,
I was just like,
Christian Walker's the lineup where it's like, the troops like standing outside the door and then you've got the clown in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Like Christian Walker is the clown in that group.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. No, Christian Walker was great last year. He's close, but he's not in that like just miss like 101 to 105. Hader, I almost was like, I have to sneak him in. Who am I going to take off? And I'm like, it's just Helsley throws 102 and at a 113. All right, last year, guys. What do you want me to say? Relievers are so up and down. It's incredibly hard to rank them correctly. But Helsley's in peak form right now. And Hader, at the end of the day, like,
where's Devin?
Struggled last year. Devin's high. Devin is freaking crazy. Devin is a freakazoid.
But that's the thing, man. I mean, like, if Devin Williams regresses, it's not he gets beat around the ballpark. It's he walks everybody, but he still doesn't limit. Like, he still like doesn't get hit.
No one can hit him.
Helsley, even if he he's still 102 unless like there's a health thing going
on.
104
sometimes.
Right. Like Hader, the thing about Hader is like we saw him get blown up. And yes, like if we were doing the legacy thing, like Hader is the number 1 reliever for sure, but we're not doing the legacy thing.
Especially with relievers. But like we are kind of, that's why I took it into account, because if we're looking at last year, Hader's nowhere close. Hader's nowhere close to this list. Be honest with yourself. He was nowhere close to this list last year. But the fact that he was 101 to 105 shows me and should tell you that I still believe in him. I still believe in him. He came back on and was much better with the Padres. He's in this conversation, but like when you have that bad of a year as a reliever, I can't put you on the top 100. I can't.
So this is a good counterpoint, and may I present a counter to the counterpoint from Connor Lang? We've talked about this on the show a couple of times. He is so much better with more rest. And I think there are a lot of relievers that can be shut down relievers when they're on 4 days rest.
There you go. They had to do that because when he had the lack of rest, he got bombed.
I love you guys just for the hyperbole alone. I love it. Like who have we called?
We called
Yandy with a higher fly ball rate is Barry Bonds. Corey Seager with no shift is Barry Bonds, and then Kyle Tucker with no shift is Barry Bonds.
It's just a little tweak for these guys. They're the best player in Major League history.
This is a really specific question. Is Brady Singer a top 25 pitcher in the American League?
Yeah.
My gut says yes.
My gut says yes. I'd have to look at it, but probably
zero thinking. My gut says
I think he's like 23. Yeah. I think he's like 23. He's right there. I had to go through it. Yeah, he's probably up there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it real quick. Party trick. This is a good question. Take me to the hardest area. I'm going to start at 100 and you tell me to stop scrolling.
It'll be quick. I know it.
Is it literally this?
No.
It's got to be this.
Going.
Come on now.
No, it's not that. I would take Bader for sure. Not for sure because they're 94, 95. It is right there.
Here?
This cluster. No, it's like the Tim Anderson, keep going up. It's the high 70s, low 80s.
High 70s, low 80s.
It's this Ketel Marte, Robert Pena, Manoah, Contreras, Kirk. This is a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you. This was the toughest area because it's like I can make arguments and disprove myself so many different ways. I drove myself crazy ranking 74 to 81. It's impossible. This cluster, because there's so many guys I love, so many talented guys mixed in with guys who have done it once, mixed in with health concerns. Like it's just, this is the toughest. I thought that was the toughest cluster.
Joe Wild is also Barry Bonds.
If Pete Appel didn't hurt his shoulder, he'd be Aaron Jones. Evan, I agree. But not Andrew Jones, because I played first base and I was submarine reliever. I was more of because I hit some doubles, didn't really hit home runs. I would say I was more like a first baseman Yanni Diaz type combined with Steve Cishek. You can't find a player in Major League Baseball who has that tool set. Steve Cishek combined with a first base Yanni Diaz. It's an elite player. It's a top 50 player.
That's like
I never got my shot.
That's like we have Ohtani at home.
Yeah. No, I'm like a Michael Lorenzen, sort of.
Yeah, it's like it's like Bubba Chandler, but like if you took a 19-year-old Bubba Chandler and put him in Major League Baseball right now and like dialed his fastball back 20 miles an hour. Evan and I had a great Russillo conversation. He's a Russillo guy. Evan also really good friends with Kevin Herter. Yeah. I'm really sorry about his 3-point performance. That was brutal. But you know what?
He's even in the 3-point. Shout out Evan.
Dude,
love
he's
you,
sick.
Evan. Miss you. Yeah.
Let me cook.
But yeah. What? Yeah, but I'm a Steve Cishek, Yanni Diaz type.
I guess Brooklyn, right, with Katie and Kyrie, but like not really.
In what other sport can you have two best players in the sport and not make the playoffs? Football. No, Mahomes and Kelsey won the Super Bowl. Like,
hey, Steve Cishek, Yanni, that guy gets a job for sure.
He gets a job. He gets a contract. That's a ball player.
In regards to Kevin Herter,
yeah.
If Aram doesn't get hurt, he's prime Randy Johnson for sure.
No, Aram is a poor man's Josh Rojas, who is a good player.
Man, Aram was a switch hitter, if I'm not mistaken.
Josh Rojas?
This is one that jumps out, and this is one where we had a conversation on Friday.
Yes. And just to preface it, Aram and Jack are Correa guys. I'm a Seager guy.
Right, and that's why this is Peter Appel's top 100 players of 2023.
So, yeah, we want to break it down?
We can. You want to? Or we can tell people to go listen to the podcast.
Seager is better more than one spot. So we actually think Seager is much better than Correa. It's so close. Correa's the better defender. I think Seager's got more power. I think Seager's the better bat to ball guy. It's so close because I do value defense, and that's why Correa is ranked this high, because I think he's an all-world defender. But it's like you flip a coin. I just think Seager's I think Seager finishes higher in WAR this year. I really do. And again, he's a guy who I'm willing to write it down, remember, like Seager versus just about anyone. I'm looking at his MVP odds, honestly. I think he's going to have a crazy, crazy year in his second year settled in Texas. Jack scoffing, Aram would scoff at that too. Most of just baseball would scoff at that point. But guess what?
Peter's a renegade.
Hat on it. I'm doing this.
Peter's a free thinker. I am a conformist.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm a transformer. And Peter is a free thinker.
Yeah. What I will say is, who got more money? Get your money up, Correa.
Well, Correa was going to.
Not as much.
I like
actually 10 million more, but he didn't because his leg is broken.
So I like this point from Joe. Sean Murphy racks it up defensively. There's another question here about Murphy.
It's funny. I got a Murphy question saying that he was too high. Right? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you got that one.
And then question kind of answered that question.
I think you've got that. Yeah, it's the same thing from the same guy, Joe. Yeah, I mean, Murphy, like if it's a WAR conversation, for sure, Sean Murphy.
It's a better catcher.
Don't confuse this for a fantasy baseball list, because like Kirk and Contreras are both better than Murphy.
In fantasy baseball? Yeah, because they're better hitters. But
right.
Barely. And like Murphy's up there with them, and he's much better defensively. Has to be Murphy. And Kirk's done it once. Do it again, loser. No, he's awesome.
Do you want to alert people to your Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day 2023. A5 Wagyu. Cooked it perfectly. What a performance by me. Lobster. Ever heard of it? Dynamo. Little broccoli rabe garlic. Yes, please. How about some fingerling potatoes? Ever heard of it?
Lobster? Ever heard of it?
Incredible.
I've heard of lobster, Peter.
Aram says, I heard Pete call me the poor man's Josh Rojas. I think that's as spot on of a take as I've ever had in talking on a mic.
Are we Are you dishing out gambling advice right now?
No.
Yeah.
It'd be absurd.
Save that. Save it. Yes or no question.
Honestly, I'd take Munoz over Bautista.
Yeah, there were some Munoz points.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, he's going to make our top 10 relievers list. He's a dog. He's also so much bigger than I think we think he is. Because, we watch him on the mound, and, obviously, he looks hulking and he looks enormous. But did you see that video of him running in spring training, Jack?
Yeah, well,
it's like 7 feet 8.
I don't think he's that big, but according to Baseball Reference, I think he's like 6 foot. What is he? 6'5", 190.
Oh, I mean, he's 6'8", 280 almost, I think.
Yeah, he's not 190.
No. If he's 190, then I'm 110.
Giolito, by the way, I saw Giolito was checking in at 245. He's 6'6", 245. Apparently, he was like 275 last year.
Yeah, I didn't even.
It didn't look like he had that much weight on him.
Nah, he looked fine to me.
Just a big dude, I guess. Who has the best chance to get into the top 10 entry 24? Let's go just outside. I think the answer is very clear.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop scrolling right here.
Yep. Freak. Taller Ronald Acuna Jr.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, like Lindor, if he does it again. But I think if you're looking outside the top 15 guys that can jump into the top 10, it's got to be him. And
I mean, what a beautiful top 25. Right down to the nose, perfect.
What a beautiful top 100, Peter.
Top 100, you can make some arguments. I would say that you're wrong. But, I mean, try and crack open a better top 25. I don't think you can. It's absolutely perfect. Aram did make great points about Austin Riley. That's one I took the bet, and I was like, he might be right. But, again, he was wrong because I'm right. And that's why he's at 26. Aram, if you can hear me.
He can.
Hey, why don't you come on the stream, loser? Jack's got to jump too. Why don't we do this a little bit longer? And you could come up and argue.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce
right now.
In 5 minutes, I'm going to go see which All-Star gets their feelings hurt by being the last pick in the draft.
That's actually hilarious. I'm going to text
it. It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny. This list is flawless with sarcasm. How about this? Aram supporting you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Haas. Who is dropping out of the top 20?
Goldie's a good answer because he is a first baseman, so he has to hit like that again, which I think he will, honestly. Who's dropping out of the top 20?
Honestly, if this guy throws 100 innings or fewer,
yeah, it'd be him. It'd be him. I'm not putting any guns to heads, but I would.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that. All right.
Yeah, Arm's cooking dinner right now. Just so afraid.
No, he does. Aram doesn't cook. We know that.
I wanted to help him. Obviously, his girlfriend's cooking for him, but I was trying to protect him. But if we're not protecting him, I agree. He can't cook for himself.
He's
not
watching.
To debate.
He's doing sous chef stuff where he's like, "Hey, do you want me to clean anything?"
He's opening the bag of chips,
right?
And asking her to open it for him.
Let me grab you this from the fridge. Yeah, these guys are both Barry Bonds for sure.
Gallo is so fascinating because
congratulations to Cam on having a home.
Yeah, honestly, but he's right. Goldie versus lefties was a cheat code. Machado, Arenado, Ramirez. Yeah. Any last questions? I know you got to bounce soon, Jack. Any last questions?
I don't think so. I think we're good. This was stellar.
Yeah, this was fun.
We just went an hour 20 talking about ball.
So much fun. Remember, again, everybody, we broke down the whole list on a podcast episode, Just Baseball Show. It's the most recent episode. I think it's 398. So you can listen to kind of us break down, argue the whole list. It's live on justbaseball.com if you just want to read through the names. Command F on your favorite team. And if your favorite team's not there, shoot me a hate DM. I understand. I've been there. I've gone to lists and just command F Yankees, and they're a little bit lower than I want, and I get upset. I know. I've been there. It's a lot harder when you make the list. But It's a perfect list. It's flawless. There's no mistakes. So if you think something's wrong, no, you're wrong. I'm just kidding. It's my opinion.
I think it's no Reds, no A's, no Tigers, and that might be it.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. No Padres either.
Tatis, 9, craziness.
Yeah. No, Tatis, if anyone has an argument about Tatis not being on it because of the steroid thing, debate a wall. I'm not here to debate you. From a talent perspective, there's few better.
Yeah.
And we all know that. You could say availability. I'd say sure, but like he could be number 1 if he plays.
For sure.
So 9 is perfect. Props to me again.
Excellent. All right. Adios, folks.
Also, wait, one last thing. I was on the TikTok live earlier. A lot of people were like, "Where's Nestor? Where's Giancarlo? Aren't you a Yankee fan?" I am a Yankee fan,
but he's a journalist.
I'm a capital J, lowercase j journalist.
He's a journalist. I'm very high on G1 Bay. Yeah, Thank you for following up with the question mark.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed. We'll definitely be doing more live streams. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. We're going to be talking ball much more on the YouTube during the regular season. We'll probably do more top 10s and more live streams as we start. So make sure hit that subscribe button. Thank you to all the people who donated. I know Owen. I know plenty more of you did. Really appreciate that. It helps us out so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed everything. This is a blast. And make sure to go get upset on our website or on the YouTube page.
Why not?
Why not?
All right, folks. Much love.
Later, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.